know some of you find science difficult, but today I will make it easy for you. We will be discussing 10 items which will improve your skills in science. Hi everyone, I'm Teacher Jin of TeachTalk, where learning is fun and easy. If this is your first time watching our videos, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you get notified on our next videos. If you've watched our previous videos, we're done with logical reasoning and English. For today, we will be talking about science. This section consists of test items in biology, chemistry, physics, and earth science that will test your ability to accomplish various important scientific tasks. Let's proceed to science. We will be answering 10 items under this domain. Are you ready? Okay, I assume you're ready. Let's start with number 1. Plants produce their own food molecules through a process called photosynthesis. What do plants need for photosynthesis to push through? A. Light. B. Light and water. C. Light, water, and carbon dioxide. D. Light, water, carbon dioxide, and oxygen. Do you have an answer? Before we reveal the correct answer, let's take a look at this picture. This is a simple illustration of the process of photosynthesis. You can see that there's a plant and there's a sun. On the left side of the picture are reactants, or the materials that plants need for photosynthesis to occur. These are sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water. On the right side of the illustration, we can see the products, or those that will be produced after the process of photosynthesis is done. The products are glucose, which is a type of sugar, and oxygen, which is actually a byproduct. Going back to the question, it asks for what plants need. This means that the question is referring to the reactants, so the correct answer is letter C, light, water, and carbon dioxide. Did you get it right? Okay, let's have number 2. Imagine you have a pet animal called Diwata. Diwata is fat and she has a very thick fur coat. She also likes to sleep for months at a time. After a year in your house in the Philippines, you notice that Diwata is suffering. You then decide to release her back to her natural habitat. Which biome do you think is right for her? Are you familiar with biomes? Let's read the choices. You might know some of them. A. Desert. B. Tundra. C. Savanna. D. Tropical rainforest. These are illustrations of the kinds of biome. In this picture, we are showing 6 kinds of biome: rainforest, taiga, temperate deciduous forest, grasslands, desert, and tundra. Since Diwata is fat, has a very thick fur coat, and likes to sleep for months, we can assume that the place she's living in is cold. So, Diwata lives in a... Correct. B. Tundra. Tundra is a type of biome where the tree growth is hindered by low temperatures and short growing seasons. The term tundra is a Russian term which means treeless mountain tract. We will be encountering other types of biomes in the next set of questions. For now, let's have number 3. Flowering plants such as daisies and orchids belong to Magnoliophyta. Based from the phylogeny of their characters, the flower of a daisy and the flower of an orchid have been acquired from a common ancestor. If the daisy and the orchid's common ancestor has a flower, what can be inferred? We can start by eliminating letter C, discontinuous. There is no such thing as a discontinuous character. Instead, there is discontinuous variation. It means that the different types of variations are placed in discrete individual categories, in contrast to continuous variation, in which different types of variations are distributed on a continuum. The next thing that we can eliminate is homoplastious, because homoplastious characters are characters present in species which are the same in structure but they are absent in their ancestors. Going back to the stem, the ancestor flower and the orchid and daisy both have flowers. So the three of them share common structures. So we can erase this. Next, we are left with A and B, analogous and homologous. These two terms are usually encountered in our discussion in evolution. Analogous structures are structures which have the same function, but the organisms having them have different ancestors. Then, homologous structures are structures which may or may not have the same functions but share a common ancestor. To better explain the concept of analogous and homologous structure, I have a picture here. Please identify which of the following is a homologous structure or which is an analogous structure. Is it the upper picture or the lower picture? Which is the analogous structure? It's the lower picture, the wing of a butterfly and the wing of a bat. They have the same function, which is for flying, but they descended from different ancestors. One is an insect, the other one is a mammal. And the upper picture is composed of homologous structures. As you can see, the arm of a human, the leg of a cat, the flippers of the whale, and the wings of a bat both have the same structure. They are composed of the humerus, radius, ulna, carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges. Even though they have different functions, they all descended from a common ancestor, as depicted in the similarity of their internal structure. Going back to the question, the common ancestor of the two flowers has a flower. Flower of a daisy and the flower of an orchid both have flowers. And so we can infer that this character is homologous because they may or may not have the same functions, but in this case, they have the means origin, and the word sperm refers to the sperm cells. In the same way, oogenesis means the origin and development of egg cells. Genesis means origin, then oo refers to the egg cells. There are some differences between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. This table summarizes the differences between them in terms of process, gametes, and timing. Please study the table first. Now let's proceed to the options. A. Sperm cells take longer time to develop, unlike in egg cells. B. ovum is produced in continuous manner, unlike in sperm production. C. Spermatogenesis occurs at certain parts of childhood, while oogenesis occurs only during adolescence. D. There are prolonged interruptions in oogenesis, unlike in spermatogenesis, which occurs in constant matter. All of the choices except for one are wrong. Based on the table that summarized the differences between spermatogenesis and oogenesis, only letter D differentiates the two terms. If your answer is wrong, it's okay. As a matter of fact, biology is a subject which requires extensive reading and familiarizing with the basic concepts and basic terms in order for you to get a grasp of the topics in biology. Let's take a look at the choices and identify what makes them wrong. Letter A. Sperm cells take longer time to develop, unlike in egg cells. This is wrong because in meiosis, the process in which sperms and eggs are produced, 4 sperm cells are actually produced in one round of meiosis, and only one egg cell is produced. The other 3 disintegrates into polar bodies. Letter B. Ovum is produced in a continuous manner, unlike in sperm production. This is also wrong because ovum is only developed from birth. Require a monthly cycle for its release, so ovum is actually produced in a discontinuous manner. How about letter C? Spermatogenesis occurs at certain parts of childhood, while oogenesis occurs only during adolescence. This is wrong because spermatogenesis occurs from puberty and throughout the man's life, but it is reduced with age. And the second part of the sentence is wrong because oogenesis does not only occur during adolescence. In fact, it continues to go on until a woman gets her menopause. So only D is a valid statement. Okay, let's go to number 5. In your biology class, you look into a compound microscope. You notice that the organism you are trying to view is out of focus. Which microscope part do you adjust to sharpen the focus? So the key word here is the view is out of focus. So you need to know the part that will sharpen the focus. To familiarize ourselves with the parts of the microscope, here is a picture of the microscope. It has parts, namely the revolving nosepiece, coarse adjustment knob, fine adjustment knob, diaphragm, light source, eyepiece or ocular lens, objective lens, stage clip, knob is adjusted to sharpen the focus, and the coarse adjustment knob is to adjust the distance between the objects on the slide to look for the specimen. So, it is obvious that the answer for number 5 is... You got it right, it's letter C, fine adjustment knob. You can just observe and examine the picture over and over again so that you'll get familiar with the parts and functions of the microscope. Now we're on number 6. For your birthday, A friend gave you a plant as a gift. You named the plant Pag-asa. Pag-asa is a succulent, has many spines and barely no leaves. Which biome is Pag-asa's natural habitat? A. Desert, B. Tundra, C. Grassland, D. Tropical rainforest. We have encountered a similar question earlier, but the answer was tundra. This time, our keywords are: the plant is a succulent and it has many spines and barely no leaves. Let's take a look at the kinds of habitat once again. In case you didn't know, succulents are plants with parts that are thickened, fleshy, and engorged, usually to retain water in arid or dry climates or soil conditions. Example of succulents are these plants, as you can see in the picture. Where can we usually find these succulent plants? We can find them in arid or dry conditions. Among the kinds of biomes shown in this picture, which is arid, dry, and very hot? It is the correct. It is the desert. I hope you're getting a hang of the kinds of biomes since we have answered it twice already. Okay, number 7. Let's answer a question in chemistry. All of the following are postulates of the kinetic molecular theory of gases except: one more thing that's difficult in science is that you need to memorize theories, laws, and other facts in science. So I have posted the kinetic molecular theory and gases here for you to read and internalize them because you might need them during your study period for the exam. Based on the postulates of the kinetic molecular theory, one of the options is incorrect or an exception or not true. What do you think is not included in the kinetic molecular theory of gases? It is letter C, because it negates the statement average kinetic energy is directly proportional to temperature. It means as temperature goes up, so does kinetic energy. The particles become more active. But letter C states that at lower temperatures, molecules have higher kinetic energies. This is wrong. It should be at higher temperatures, molecules have higher kinetic energies. The rest of the statements are included in the kinetic molecular theory of gases. Now let's proceed to number 8. Energy within the oceans is distributed through which process? This topic has been discussed to us during our elementary and high school years. Conduction, convection, and radiation. Conduction is the direct transfer of heat from one substance to another. For example, when you touch a hot pot, you immediately remove your hand because it is hot, because energy transferred to your hand. Then convection is the transfer of heat in a fluid or anything that flows, like gas or liquid. Then radiation is transfer of heat energy through empty space. This is commonly depicted in the transfer of solar energy from our sun towards the earth. The space between the sun and the earth is an empty space, and the only way that heat can be transferred is through, that's right, radiation. Let's go back to the question. The one in question is the energy within the oceans. Among the three, where do you think this ocean belong? What is the nature of oceans? Oceans they are water, they are liquid, and they flow. Thus, our first clue is that ocean is a fluid, and the transfer of heat energy in fluids is called B, convection. Number 9. The Earth is heated by the sun by which process? I have mentioned this earlier, so let's just answer this without any clues to see if you understood the topic about the conduction, convection, and radiation. Do you have an answer? Okay, the correct answer is C, radiation, since it is the transfer of heat through empty space. Now we're at the last item in science. Congratulations because you made it so far. An object with what looks like a tail is visible at the sky for days. What object is this? A. Asteroid, B. Comet, C. Meteor, D. Meteoroid. For everyone's information, the things that we see that fall off the sky are not all meteors. They have different terms to them. Let's define comet. Comet is a chunk of ice and rock originating from the outer solar system, often accompanied by a comma and tail. So this is so far, and it is composed of ice and rock. Next, we have asteroid. Asteroid is a rock in orbit, generally between Mars and Jupiter. Sometimes, asteroids get bounced towards the Earth, so the defining feature of an asteroid is that it is generally found between Mars and Jupiter, and that it is a rock. Next, meteoroid. Meteoroid is a space rock that's bigger than a dust grain, but smaller than an asteroid. If it strikes the Earth, it is then a meteorite. So, meteoroid is relatively smaller than an asteroid, and it is in space. But when it strikes Earth, the term changes. It becomes a meteorite. Then what is a meteor? Meteor is a streak of light seen when a space rock enters the atmosphere and starts burning up, aka falling star. So this is what we call a falling star. A falling star is not actually a star. It's a meteor. Then lastly, we have meteorite. If a meteor doesn't entirely burn up, a piece of space rock that lands on the Earth is called a meteorite. So these three, meteoroid, meteor, and meteorite are related. Let's summarize. Meteoroid is found in space. When it passes through the atmosphere of the Earth and we see a streak of light, it is called a meteor. The remnants of the burning rock may fall down the Earth or land on the Earth. The piece of space rock that didn't entirely burn up is called a meteorite. Going back to the question, the answer to this question is, the keyword for this question is an object with what looks like a tail. The tail is a keyword. So the answer is letter B. It is a comet. This is a picture of a comet. See, it has something that looks like a tail. That ends our session for science, and I hope you learned something from our 10 items. And to know more about science, you just need to read your high school books, your high school notes, because you need extensive reading in this subject. You can't just guess for any item. Nothing is better than going to an exam prepared. Good luck in the scholarship examination, guys. Please do your best. Bye!